All right. All right. I would like to call the Sumner County Library Trustees Special Called Meeting to order on April 23rd, 2025 at 4:02 p.m. We are at the Hendersonville Public Library. First off, call to order and roll call.
Jim Holcomb.
Mike Bryan.
Erica Grammer.
Shannon Bergdorf.
Pam Tiller.
Jackie Wilbur.
Paul McCoy.
And Joanna Daniels, and Kaylee is not here with notice. Mike?
Yeah.
Would you mind doing the invocation?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you in Jesus' name. We thank you for your direction, Lord. We thank you for this library and the other 4 libraries in our system, and we just ask you to give us wisdom in directing them and directing the activities and the policies and everything that you've allowed us to be responsible for. And we just thank you for the gift of all the staff and all the people that come and enjoy the libraries. And we just ask you to keep us safe, and this day today just to be glorifying of you, Lord. And we just thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you. All right. Now we are going to move on to approval of the agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I would like to see if we could, I have to leave at 5 o'clock because I have to be at opioid meeting. So for the sake of time, could we remove E and F and deal with those in our next meeting? The standards overview checklist and the Westmoreland windows, since Phyllis sent us a review and the windows are more or less taken care of. And the standards overview checklist, I don't think is an emergency, anything that we have to deal with today.
So the reason why I have the standards overview checklist on there is via a request of Terry Boyd, Commissioner Terry Boyd. And she wanted it before the 30th budget hearing, which we are going to next week. And that is why it is on there.
Okay.
And then the Westmoreland windows, the reason that is on there is because of the talking about it at budget coming up on the 30th as well, and per, I guess, a conversation with you, it was going to be pushed to next year, and that's something that we would have to vote on.
But it hasn't been, and she's taking care of it, so could we remove it for today for time's sake? Because the money's in the budget to pay for the windows. The windows are going to be done.
It's not.
So that's my motion, is to remove E and F, or at least F, for the sake of time.
Which motion?
I am motioning to amend the agenda and remove E and F, but specifically F.
But specifically that.
What, the motion is what the motion is.
Okay.
To remove E&F.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jackie. Okay, so
Discussion.
Shannon. Hold on one second. Shannon. Do we have discussion?
I'm unclear as to the urgent nature of E, standards overview checklist appendix. Is that something that needs to be done today?
So
I know a commissioner is asking for it. Are we time bound by that request? Is it?
we're only time bound by her request. And that is, and it's one commissioner asking for something, so it's up to you guys. She requested it. I told her I'd put it on the agenda, meeting didn't happen. I told her I'd put it on the next agenda. So it is her personal request.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay. All right. And it's, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And, okay, we're gonna have to tell me,
An aye.
raise your hands for an aye.
We'll take a shorter meeting.
Okay, all right, and all opposed? Me? I'm opposed. Any abstentions? Okay, all right, so motion passes. So we have removed E and F. All right, so I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Jim, second by Shannon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Me? Any abstentions? Okay. All right. So recognition of public. We have two people that are wanting to speak. We have Patricia Smith. Hi,
Hi, okay, where's the owl?
you can come about right
Where
here.
do I speak to?
You can speak right here and the owl's right there. He's
Okay.
looking right at you.
Okay, looking right at me, okay. Okay, I want to thank you so much for all the hard work that you do. I want to thank all the librarians in the county for all the hard work that they do. My name is Patricia Smith, you heard that.
And your address, please.
And my address is 112 England Place in Hendersonville.
Step over here so I don't have to
I'm
go all the way.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I've been coming to these meetings for a while, and I really appreciate the concern that you have for our libraries. I would like to ask you to make sure that what you do reflects the entire community, and I am confident that you will. I want to commend you for approving the agenda and not adding things. This is probably, I don't know, but maybe the reason, yeah, I see some heads going up and down, why so many people are in this room today, because we were not sure if things were going to be added. The last meeting was abruptly canceled at the last minute, and it had a couple of things on it that we were very, very concerned about as the public. So thank you for not adding those back. If they are added ever, you can expect us all back again.
Are you gonna speak on something to the agenda?
I'm talking
please?
about the
Okay.
approval of the agenda right now.
Okay.
And I thank you for doing that without adding anything extra. Thank you for that. The other thing I would like to address is 5D. I'm not I don't really understand that. Pay for note-taking. Does this body have a secretary? No? Okay. Is this, I want to know if this position is going to be advertised, because I may want to apply. I have experience, and it sounds like a good job. So I would like to ask you to please make sure that is advertised, if and when you decide to fill that. And thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And our Court? Court, okay, I apologize.
You're not the first one.
Great.
I'm Court Nygaard. I am a licensed clinical psychologist. I have practiced 50-some years.
Could you speak up, please? Could you speak up? Could you speak up?
I am Court Nygaard. I am a licensed clinical psychologist, which I have been for 50-some years. And I'm also a constitutional conservative. And I think these two kind of come to bear on what I have to talk about, what I'm concerned about. On the one hand, I'm concerned about the frequency with which our process of operating institutions seems to be distracted by sex. Now, that should be a comfortable topic for a psychologist.
Pardon me, sir. Is this pertaining to the agenda? What's on the agenda? Okay, can you tell me which item you're pertaining to?
I believe it's E.
E has been taken off of the agenda,
Oh, I thought it was F.
and F has been taken off of the agenda as well.
Okay. So can I speak on something else?
Anything else on the agenda?
Anything else on the agenda? Yes.
Um,
We're about to approve the minutes, and on, I believe it's 8B, there's something on challenged books in the minutes, which might have
Hey,
something to do with
Paul, I
what you want to say.
apologize, but we're not supposed to speak to.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know
Speak to
that.
them during
Okay.
this time.
Well, my concern is about the books in the library.
That's not
Can
on
I
the
speak,
agenda.
can I
That's-
speak to that?
That's not on an agenda item.
I stand silenced.
Okay. Okay, all right, thank you so much. Recognition of the public. Also, wanted to let know that Anita and Amy are here as well, and Kristen. Who are our directors, and Gabby cannot be here, and
Phyllis is on vacation.
yes, and Phyllis is on vacation, so.
Can I ask a question though? Because that makes no sense at all, that he knew he was on agenda, yet you accused him of being off agenda and did
He's-
not allow him to continue to speak. You just admitted that he was on agenda by your own board's admission. And then you decided to silence him knowing he was on agenda after being on agenda B, correct?
They took it off the agenda.
No, B. I thought you said it was part of B,
I asked
right?
him if he was speaking about it. If he wants to
And
come,
you told him,
if
your
he would like to
board-
come up and
you told your
finish,
board member
please,
that
sir,
he could
sir,
not
if he would
give
like to,
him-
if
okay.
he would like to come up and finish, it's perfectly fine. But I asked him what he's speaking to on the agenda, and he did not say what he was speaking on.
Why would you
So,
ask him that if it was obvious? Even your other board member knew how
because,
obvious it was.
because he said it was E and F. So,
Which were removed.
which were removed. So, okay. All right, we have to move on with the meeting. Okay. So, new business.
Yeah, did you offer him to
I-
let
I-
him speak?
Blacksmith,
I did.
relax, I'm just asking
I did
for
offer him.
clarification.
I did.
you want to allow him to.
That's fine. If you would like to come up and finish, but I need to know what you're speaking on,
Do
please.
I need this?
Come on.
He said the B, right? B, the letter B?
No, he
Okay,
had,
thank you very
He
Oh, I
much.
did
said
not-
E as in Edward.
Thank you
he
very
said
much.
E as in Edward and F as in Frank.
Which were
No,
removed.
I said I thought Frank was off the
Okay.
agenda, and that's why I thought E was still on it.
So, and you said E. And is there something else you would like to speak on the agenda?
Am I allowed to speak about E?
No.
E is not on the agenda.
Am
You
I
said
allowed
you're allowed
to
to
speak
speak
about?
about
Okay,
B.
I need you to be quiet, sir.
Am I allowed to speak about that item on the agenda about the content of the books in the library?
Do you know which one that is?
I do not. I'm just a mere public citizen.
Okay, go ahead and speak.
My concern is the degree to which the topic of sex gets injected into the public discussion these days. And the idea that the library seems to be preoccupied, from what I can see, with topics of books that are in the library that has some relevance to sex, which in my view is something that happens in private and is not a matter of public discussion or regulation. So that's one concern I have. Another concern is, as I said, I'm a constitutional conservative, and I'm concerned that we keep the library in particular to be a marketplace for ideas. And I keep seeing efforts, not just here, all across the country, but it concerns me, efforts to restrict the marketplace so that we only talk about certain ideas and we don't talk about other ones. this has nothing to do with you all, but the worst example I've seen of that recently was in Clarksville at the Army schools, where they stripped items that they deemed to be divisive out of the library. I think we need to have a library which allows a diversity of ideas. And I'm strongly in favor of keeping the stacks more open and less restrictive. I have no idea what
Thank
topic
you.
that was on.
Okay. Good to know.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so now we are going to move on to new business. We are going to approve the minutes from March 26th, 2025. Now, this seems a little bit it's kind of a little bit odd for me to ask us to approve the March 26th minutes because it would normally be at a regular meeting. However, finance is holding back the raise for Phyllis and her money without approved minutes. So we are going to approve the minutes from March 26, 2025, if we can, so that she can get her raise and her back pay. So I will entertain a motion to approve March 26, 2025 minutes.
I have some amendments to make to the minutes, please. I went back and watched the video after I read the minutes, or maybe before, I don't recall. And much was made about my absenteeism, so I would like up here at the top where it says absent Shannon Bergdorf to have it to say with notice, because I noticed at 6 o'clock that morning that I was in a class in Nashville and would not be able to make it, but no mention was made that I had noticed that I could not be there. And then I was mentioned again in my absence, not necessarily by name, about having voted on adding something to the commission agenda.
Can you show me where that's at?
Yes, right here in number 6, it says, the resolution mentioned Joanna Daniels and Jim Holcomb by name in reference to sexually explicit materials in the libraries. So I have this to share with everyone to correct the record. It says, chairman and vice chairman. Be it resolved the chairman and vice chairman. It does not say Joanna Daniels and Jim Holcomb. And I would like this entered into the record.
Can you read the bottom?
Your name is not on here. It says the chairman and vice chairman. Nowhere in this document does it say Jim Holcomb and Joanna Daniels. No one writing policy would put the names of people in the office. They would use the names of the chair, of the seat. So here that is. I would like it entered into the record. Nevertheless, I did take the time to look up in Robert's rules about decorum and debate. And in 4321, from this version, it says refraining from attacking a member's motives. When a question is pending, a member can condemn the nature or likely consequences of the proposed measure in strong terms, but he must avoid personalities, and under no circumstances can he attack or question the motives of another member. The measure, not the member, is the subject of debate. And again, I was talked about in my absence in section 11, where it says Shannon Bergdorf, Commissioner, refused to go. And I would like anywhere it says Shannon Bergdorf, Commissioner, refused to be stricken from the minutes. You have no proof that I refused. I had legitimate reasons that I could not go to these meetings. I was out of town. I have work to do. I have told you I cannot attend meetings before 3:30 in the afternoon. And I would like that stricken. In 11, where it says Shannon Bergdorf, Commissioner, refused. I want Shannon Bergdorf, Commissioner, refused, and so stricken. That is what I want.
Okay, so,
Because you did that with, you offered no proof that I refused.
there- that was testimony from Kaylee. I didn't say
Did you
that.
have, I want it, I don't care, she's not here, I want it removed.
Okay,
And that is what I want.
she said that she has email from you.
She
saying-
has an email from me that says, I cannot attend the meeting, therefore Amy should probably go and speak to the deficiencies at her library, or however I said it. That is not a refusal. Not being able to attend is not a refusal. And that is what I would like changed. And I wanted to defend the maker of that resolution, of that to be added to the agenda, that your name and Jim's name were not in that.
Okay.
And whether or not, and I would like to add too, that whether or not I would add it to vote, to add it to the agenda at the commission, is my prerogative as a county commissioner.
You have it? It's not enough. Okay. All right. Well, where is it? Well, thank you.
And I
appreciate you correcting me on that, as I did think that our names was on there, but it was probably just because I heard vice and chairman. So if I'm corrected, I do apologize, because I know somewhere in the correspondence of this, I saw mine and Jim's name. So, we make mistakes, and that is a mistake I made. So, that is perfectly fine. We can take that off, and you made a mistake.
I don't
So,
mind if that
and
is
then
left in the
also-
minutes,
And
but
then also,
I wanted proof.
As far as taking it off of the facilities report, that is something that I'm gonna have to check with Kaylee on, because that is something that she said. And in the minutes,
I want that removed from the minutes. I want it removed from the minutes.
Motion not made.
okay, so what's the motion again, please?
I would like where it says in section 11,
There, she refused to.
I want Shannon Bergdorf, comma, commissioner, comma, refused. So I want that, all of that removed. And she can say that Kaylee will do Millersville, but I have taken care of Millersville. I could not come to the meeting. I was not spoken to about that facilities report. I could not come to any of the meetings for holidays, for travel. So saying that I refuse to do something when I cannot do it, those are not the same. And sometimes it is semantics.
Okay. So that's your motion, is to just remove
Yes.
11?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a couple of changes too, but
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know if we need that now. But
Oh, wait, sorry. Oh, also in 11, Shannon Bergdorf, commissioner, comma, I want all of that, has been refusing to go to facilities committee meetings, sorry. It's been 2 weeks since I looked. I would like that removed as well. I have not refused to go to meetings. I have not been able to go. I have made it abundantly clear I cannot be at meetings before 3:30 in the afternoons. Fridays are not good for me because of my other job. And you all have consistently scheduled meetings, subcommittee meetings before 3:30 and on Fridays. And if I cannot come, I am sorry. That does not mean that I am not doing my duty as a library board member. And that is the inference that I got from watching your video.
Sure, discussion?
Was notification made, who's notification made to?
For what?
That you weren't attending? You said you notified somebody at 6 a.m. on the day of the last meeting.
On March 26th, I sent you all an email, and Jackie
Okay.
Wilbur responded, and she said, good luck in class. It was my last certified county financial officer class.
Okay. And then, are you aware of the attendance policy for committee members?
I am aware of it.
Okay. And are you aware before you became a library board member that some committee meetings, and actually most committee meetings happened before 3:30 p.m.?
No, ma'am, I was not.
Okay. Did you ask about committee meetings or anything like that before you joined the library board and the timing?
No, ma'am.
And did you let anybody know before you joined the library board about your time constraint to be at meetings?
The bylaws state.
Did you?
The
let them-
bylaws state in committees, subcommittees, that you may volunteer, you should volunteer for one committee. I volunteered, I took the committees that I was assigned. I did not volunteer for any committees. And I have done my due diligence. I contacted Lauren about her budget.
Have
really,
you let anybody know, for one?
I have sent you all.
One of the attendance things is that you have to be on at least one committee. That is the bylaw.
Yes.
Have you said to anybody that you cannot be on both committees?
No, because I don't have a problem being on the committees.
But you have a problem being on the committees because there is no bylaw that says that committee meetings are after 3:30 p.m.
Then maybe we should put that in the bylaws.
But it's not what it's in the bylaws.
Okay, nevertheless, I have not refused. We are getting in the weeds. I want those changed. I have not refused. I have been unable to go. And any further discussion maybe should take place at a different meeting where we discuss attendance of committee meetings.
Okay. And
A lot of times too, I've noticed with committee meetings though, they do send out a notice and you do try to respond and say you can or cannot be there. And then you can set the meeting according to who can come. But now, has that happened with every single committee? So there's no consistency on how the dates and times are set.
I think that's about how all committees work. So, okay. So any other discussion on this?
There's nothing in the absence that says with or without notice, right? As I look at the minutes. So you want this one to say with notice. There was a previous meeting that there was an absence without notice.
Correct.
So-
Yes, in January I
Yes,
did.
well-
We were in Key West and
Well,
I
that-
completely forgot.
That's okay. I just want to make sure that we're,
And I'm aware that 2 in a row without notice gets you kicked off the board or gets you.
yeah, so this
Gets you
doesn't
into
say with or
trouble.
without notice. I don't
Right.
know that that needs to be amended.
But I have been faithful to notice.
Great, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, she did mention that, but that we could add with notice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other further discussion?
Are we adding additional things? Cecilia, did you have something?
Do we need to vote on
We need
hers
to
I
vote
think
first?
we have
first.
to vote
On her portion
on
first.
Okay.
her portion first. So, I will entertain a motion to make the changes, and let me make sure, with notice, and then 11 to Shannon Bergdorf refused to, and Shannon Bergdorf has been refusing to go to facilities meetings, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
And there was 6, taking out the mention by name.
I think
Did
she
you withdraw
said
that?
she didn't.
I don't
The
care.
wording doesn't change
Okay.
there.
I
It was
just
the
wanted to
information.
bring the correct bill that I
Okay.
was,
Yes. Which, an apology. for that.
Okay.
okay. So do I have a second?
Second.
We got this.
Second by Paul, okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed. Okay, so, and any abstaining? Okay, so motion passes for the amendment. Did you have anything else, Cecilia?
Yeah, I just have a couple of things in 12F, it's just in my report. My title is wrong, so assistant director.
Oh, okay.
And then also, I said something about the tech grant, and the deadline for that is April 30th, not the 15th. We still have a few libraries that are working on it. So.
Okay. So put in tech grant April 30th?
And director, not assistant director.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Take it over here.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh, in the
So
title.
do you need a motion for this, or is this just into corrections?
Yeah, I'll need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
By Jackie, second by.
Second.
Yeah,
by
everybody's
Jim.
Pick
seconded.
somebody.
Okay. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Okay,
One
Right.
more issue, sorry.
One more issue.
Okay.
okay.
On section 8B, the penultimate sentence, the board can pull these books, period. That was a point of contention that we had at the meeting, whether or not a board member could actually just pull the book, or whether a board member had to fill out the form and go through the process.
Where are you, I'm sorry.
The penultimate last sentence, next to last sentence.
8B.
Yeah.
Okay,
The board can pull these books. I would just like that sentence stricken for clarity, because that's not what we discussed. That's it. So motion to strike that sentence.
okay. All right. All right. All in favor?
We don't have a
motion?
second.
We don't have a second, sorry.
I'll second.
Second by Jackie. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, all right. and moving on.
Last, we have two number 11s. And while a great number, not deserving of two mentions. So last item should be changed to number 13.
Oh,
This is
motion.
number 13.
So that's just a correction, right?
That's just a correction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Typo.
All right. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to adopt the minutes as amended.
So moved.
So moved by Mike,
Second.
second by Paul. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? I oppose. Okay. All right. Okay. Now we have that. Okay, so now we are going to move on to Alicia's resignation and paperwork. We have Alicia's resignation and paperwork here that needs to be filled out. I do have a letter from Alicia that she sent to me, and I'm going to read. It's her resignation follow-up. Said, Dear Joanna, I wanted to take a moment to personally address the discrepancy between the final version of my resignation letter, which was sent to the board, and the earlier unedited draft that was unfortunately posted publicly by Charlena Allmiller. In the early drafts, I included references to policy matters and concerns about the potential withdrawal of support from the Friends of the Library. Much of this stemmed from anxiety at the time, as we were often operating with limited and at times misunderstood narratives about what was actually being considered in the policies. Specifically, my concern was primarily focused on matters like copy purchasing and how such discussions were causing apprehension among our Friends of the Library members. However, after I had the opportunity to review the policies more thoroughly and have constructive conversations with board members, I gained clarity on the true intentions and impacts of those decisions. With that better understanding, I chose to remove those portions from my final letter to the board and focus solely on the most honest and important reason for my resignation, my health. While I was traveling for medical reasons, I did not have access to my county email or laptop. I sent the draft to my work email with the intention of editing it properly once I had access to a computer, and then formally submitting it through the appropriate channels. Unfortunately, that unedited draft was taken and used without my consent. As I know, Charlena has, for some time, engaged in public distortions of truth to attack my character. Many who see her public posts on her so-called commission page may not realize that it is not an official source and mistakenly take her narratives as fact. To see my personal unedited resignation letter taken and twisted to fit her agenda, and to see my private health matters intended solely for my governing body made public, has been deeply disheartening. I also want to share with you something that has weighed heavily on me throughout my tenure. From my first interaction with Commissioner Shannon Bergdorf, where I was accused of stealing from other libraries simply for requesting additional funds to support our staff and growing patronage, it felt as though she made it her
Point
mission
of order.
to humiliate
Point of
me
order.
and
Point
put
of
me in my
order,
place.
Chairman. Point of Chairman. Reading from reports, quotations, etc.
You can.
I object to this. I object to this. This is hearsay. This is hearsay.
This is actually a letter from Alicia.
Did she not send it to the entire board?
She sent it to me.
Do you have
and
copies for all of
I can
us?
send you a copy.
No, I don't want you to send me a copy. Do you have a copy
have-
right now?
Yeah. Actually, I do have a few copies.
Does everybody want a copy?
Every email, every minor mistake, okay, sorry. I was accused of stealing from the library simply for requesting additional funds to support our staff and growing patronage. It felt as though she had made it her mission to humiliate me and put me in my place. Every email, every minor mistake was forwarded widely to as many people as possible. At no point did she reach out to coach, educate, or offer support. Instead, every communication was a mass look at what she just did broadcast. Recently, I even reached out to Commissioner Bergdorf to request a face-to-face meeting. I've always preferred direct human conversation over cold emails. We were working on gathering community members for our story times and Sumner reading programs, and knowing she had participated in similar efforts in Gallatin, I wanted to extend the same invitation to her as I had to other commissioners and to our local police and fire departments. Her response was that she would only speak to me in the presence of a staff attorney. It was devastating to realize that I could not even approach my board member or a commissioner without legal oversight. I declined to continue the conversations under such circumstances. Complete fear overtook me every time I feared making even the smallest error, knowing that within hours, Shannon and Charlena would ensure I was under some kind of unkind spotlight. In contrast, Joanna, I want to express my deep respect and gratitude for you, Jim, Erica, and Pam. You have always made time to help, advise, and support me through every issue and every success. You stepped into the library alongside me, working with grace, kindness, and understanding. I always felt safe to be transparent, to admit when I wasn't perfect, knowing that your goal was never to condemn, but to help me and our library be better. You were accessible at any time for any reason, and never once did I feel feel fear in seeking your guidance. I care deeply for you all, and I always be grateful for your leadership, especially in times as volatile as these. Despite everything, I want you to know my heart remains with our library. I love our library deeply, and I have great respect for the direction it is taking to serve our community and protect our minors. That mission was always a hill I was prepared to die on, and it came far too close to doing just that. Thank you for understanding and your leadership through this difficult reason. I wanted you to hear this directly from me with full transparency and respect. Alicia Neighbors. So I wanted to send that to you guys. She sent it to me. You guys have a copy of it. All right. So she has termination and separation notice. I'll entertain a motion to sign her separation notice. She left voluntarily, but I do believe, oh wait, this,
I thought we were supposed to see paperwork like this before we got, if it was gonna be on the agenda. I haven't seen any of this paperwork before today.
the employee termination separation notice.
Or this letter or any other.
She sent it directly to me, so we need to, it's nothing we were voting on, so. So we need to sign the separation notice. Is the employee eligible for rehire? I say yes.
When was her last day?
It was the 8th. I
Did
think.
she leave, or was she asked to leave? She had put in her letter that she sent to the board that if the board chooses to accept her resignation, she didn't know if she would stay for the full 2 weeks or just or if that would be her last day. So when was her last day?
To my knowledge, it was the 8th.
So she left on her own? So she didn't work out her full 2 weeks?
And to my knowledge, she didn't want to work out the full 2 weeks. She only wanted to be there if needed by Kristen to help. So,
Is that a concern?
I was just asking.
all right.
Given the mitigating or extenuating health circumstances? It's
Yes.
understandable.
All right, so I'm just going to say, my thing is, employee eligible for hire? Yes, and then, so I entertain a motion to sign her termination and separation notice, and to give me, as the chair, the ability to sign any other paperwork that's needed from here on in termination and separation of Alicia in case further paperwork needs to be signed. So that is my motion. I'll entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
So moved by
Second.
Jim, second by Mike. All in favor say aye.
Discussion.
No, any discussion?
Yeah. So are we expecting more paperwork, and the idea is that we can streamline the termination or resignation and not have to wait another month to get paperwork
Yes,
signed? Okay.
yes.
And it's
So in
pro
order-
forma at that point? It's perfunctory stuff, no decisions need to be made, it's just signature stuff?
Just signature stuff, yes. So, and if anything comes up that, any other paperwork, just to sign so that she can be done with.
Okay.
Do it, so that would be, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
That was my question.
all right. Any other discussion? Okay. All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. All right, I will get that signed and any other stuff done. Okay. All right, so now we are moving on to interim director. As of right now, the succession plan has Kristen Lima, but I would like to put in a nomination for Ann Harrod Phillips, and I can send you her resume. Pass that down there. I believe that Kristen is great. She's appreciate all that she has done. I do believe that Ann Harrod's skills, leadership, her experience would be extremely helpful in becoming the interim director for the Hendersonville Library. Ann Harrod is also on the Board of Ethics for Sumner County. She's
Is she
been a
already
resident.
an employee of the?
Mm-mm,
Okay.
no.
Does she have any library experience?
92% of people who have tingling or numbness in hands or feet are.
It's me.
How'd you know?
I have tingling.
That's great.
No,
That's all of us right now.
and yet, any of the,
But
a
she
lot of,
doesn't currently work for the library, or?
she doesn't. We don't have to hire anybody that's current from the library. We just need an interim director. And I think that she would be great because I think she has a lot of the skills right now that are needed in the librry. And
Except for library skills. I'm sorry, I don't understand for an interim director why we wouldn't put someone with library experience in there.
we don't need anybody with the library skills.
I think we don't need it. I'm sorry, okay. Okay.
Nowhere.
I mean, I don't know.
Nowhere in
this-
any of the job descriptions do we say library experience is necessary.
It's the same as hiring somebody for director of surgery of a hospital that has no surgeon qualifications.
Really? You're gonna
Well, yeah,
really
I mean,
honestly say this is a surgeon? Okay.
We
know, I
recommend that the directors of libraries have masters of library science.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
it's a recommendation.
It's a
not
recommendation.
It's not.
Yes.
It's
Okay,
not a
so I have
requirement, but it is a
question.
recommendation.
So I have a question. When someone works in a school that has not worked in a library, but wants to come and work as a library director, should we take them because they haven't worked in the library?
He would be more qualified.
Hey, please. So, just question.
In a
I'm
school,
just,
yeah,
I
I think there's.
just trying to, no, hold on.
Okay,
No
let me
library
answer.
experience.
Let me answer this.
Sure.
I'm all for interviewing people and looking at previous experience as a substitute for education. But for an interim director, I'm assuming we are going to have an open job search, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Why would we appoint someone that has not worked in a library, that none of us have ever heard of?
You've never
To
heard of
direct-
Ann Harrod?
No.
Actually, I think I know Ann Harrod. But I don't know about her library experience.
So, again,
I think a better comparison in my mind would be like you might have a principal that is over a school that may have never taught in a classroom. They oversee, if they
I'm willing
pursue
to
the,
clear the room.
Yeah.
if they pursue the education of that, you may have
Point
people
of order.
who, the relevant skills are leadership and staff management, budget and financial management, community engagement, policy and procedure development, event planning and management, customer service. There are a lot of wonderful staff members who are here that have the library experience. The person who would be in this position is someone that would be overseeing people who have the experience of library experience for the library.
Right.
So to me, leadership and staff management is very important. Budget and financial management is very important. Community engagement is very important. All that whole list, and responsible for HR, staff policies. She's done tons of things. There's a long list of things that she's done and what she's doing. So we can laugh, but I think that it is important to take into account what her experience has been and is, because we do need somebody who's very good at leadership in a time like this that can help manage the people who are here who have been doing the job. I very much appreciate those who work here, and I trust their ability to do this job of what they've been doing. You need somebody that's going to oversee that.
But when you've got to make a decision that's about a library, and you don't know a lot about a library, how do you know that decision is going to be sound?
And how much extra work does that put on the staff who are currently here? Because she will have to be asking them questions because she doesn't know everything about the job.
Currently, we're talking about somebody that will be an interim.
Right.
Well, and this is what I would like to speak to, and I do know Ann Harrod. Ann Harrod's been to my house. She's lovely. I looked at this resume because, again, this is the first time I've seen this, and I looked immediately at qualifications and experience, and in nowhere did I see library. That's what I'm looking for. I think it would be appropriate if she wants to apply to the position when it is advertised and open, but for an interim, you need someone who is in the building, that understands what's happening, that understands the staff, that knows the staff, that they can rely on, because you're trying to right a ship. And if you bring in an outside element that doesn't have experience with libraries, that's not the time at the moment. It would be much easier, much simpler, and much more logical to appoint an interim director who is currently at the library. I believe that's Kristen, is that right? Appoint her, and Ann Harrod should apply for the job when it's announced. That's my opinion.
So if Ann Harrod applies for the job, isn't it going to be the exact same thing as her coming as an interim?
Her experience, and she will have an opportunity to defend her experience and how it will apply to the library in the open interview process along with everyone else, which I'm not on that committee, so I won't get to hear that until we're in the board meeting anyway, but you all will.
So,
Well, my other way of looking at it is that if someone like Ann Harrod is put in the position of interim, then it allows Kristen, who is here, who's been working a job prior to this, to carry on with her job and not have to do the responsibility of the extra responsibility that she's had to put on for the spot. You still have the same staff with someone who is overseeing staff. And it lets Kristen do, who's done a very great job, Kristen get to do what she's been doing prior.
I think we make a big deal in the reviews about making sure succession plans are in place. This is the time for a succession plan. And I think, if Kristen is named the successor, in the interim, until we find a director, I'm not sure that an outside interim director is necessary. To the bigger question at hand, at the highest levels of our government, you have directors of the Secret Service who've never been an agent. You have directors of the FBI who've never carried a badge and gun. Like we can disagree on how important the experience is, but other experiences can compensate for not having worked in a library. And I think, Paul, to your point, I'd welcome to hear that in the interview process.
I would too.
Today, you know, I don't know that,
So the
I'm not sold
reason-
yet that we need a different interim.
So the reason that I am bringing forth Ann
Mhm.
Harrod is because Kristen, although she's great, this is been a little overwhelming for her and has been something that she has said that is not really something that she can
Okay.
do long-term.
Could we open the floor to let her speak to that? Ms. Lehman?
Yeah, so.
We have to
I
vote
will
on it, though.
Oh, this is you.
Yes.
Hey, yes, I didn't see you there, yeah.
So I
Do we
entertain
need
a
to
motion
officially-
to,
Yeah.
entertain a
Yeah.
motion
So
to
moved.
suspend Robert's rules.
Second.
Yeah.
So, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
To speak with how, yes, this has been a stressful situation, and at the beginning, it was very overwhelming, because, I mean, you're dropped in the deep end of
Yeah.
a pool and trying to figure out which ends up. At this point, I feel like I have a pretty good handle on the direction of where things go, and I do have some experience doing things like this. I have management experience, maybe not in a library, but I have worked customer service since I was 14 years old and have been very quickly promoted to team lead or manager in several of those situations. I am good with speaking to the public. I do a lot of community engagement as my job as operations manager. While it's stressful and can be overwhelming at times, so can any position, and it would be just as overwhelming for somebody new to step in as well. I do feel very confident that I could do this job if you guys decide. So, any other
Thank you.
questions? I can answer?
Thank you.
I do have a question. Are you currently working on your MLIS, or do you have that at all?
I graduate in 2 weeks with my bachelor's degree. From there, I will be going on for my MLIS.
Okay, wonderful.
Cool.
Thank you. What's your bachelor's degree in?
It's in sociology and social work.
Okay,
So I
thank
have a
you.
question for you though.
Yes.
This is something that could happen for another few months.
Mhm.
And you are now don't have an operations manager. And when I spoke with you last, you were extremely overwhelmed.
Yes, that was right in the middle of all this kind of spinning up, and we were trying to kind of sift through the fallout, for lack of a better way of putting it.
And
Since then, I have an amazing staff that has come up behind me to help fill in the gaps that we needed to fill in, and it has been very supported, and I do feel comfortable moving forward.
And when I spoke with you, though, you very much were not wanting to have this position for a long time, and that has changed?
I don't remember ever saying that. I said I was unsure because it had
Mhm.
just happened.
Exactly.
But I do see that I could do this long-term, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so since we have Ann Harrod here, I'd like to ask her a few questions. Ann Harrod?
Yes.
Hi.
My pleasure.
Hi. How are you doing today?
Good.
Good. What do you feel that you could bring to the library as an interim director?
Well, over the last 25 years, I've been a corporate executive in leadership. So I'm no longer 24, I'm 52. And I have 25 years of corporate executive leadership, managing people, managing processes, and more importantly, I was a government employee for the last 11 years. So I wrote policy and ethics, governance, compliance, and I had staff working for me. So managing people, interfacing with people, customer service. I'm well educated. I have a degree. I have a bachelor's in business with honours, and then I have a postgrad diploma in international marketing from the University of Cambridge. Yes, I don't have library experience, and I can understand you saying that. If the job description had had library experience on it, I wouldn't have sent the letter. I read that the job description was actually very broad, and it wanted community service. I've done a lot of that for my community. And primarily budget. I was in finance. I've managed budgets, millions of dollars of budget when I worked in government. And to ensure that there is no disparity, to ensure that the taxpayers' dollars are used wisely, and that's what I did for government when I worked for government for 11 years. So had I thought that you needed to be a librarian or have librarian experience, I wouldn't have applied for the job. I'm an American citizen, just in case anybody thinks I have a funny accent, and I'm a military wife and a mother, and I use the library. So I can come here and speak about it from a different perspective, from a usage perspective. And I can also put on my business hat and think about maybe where we can add more revenue, maybe where we can cut costs, maybe we can do things differently, maybe we can build bridges, maybe we can communicate better with our citizens. So if you are open to me continuing pursuing the interim position, then I'm here to be available for an interview. But sometimes you can get positivity from somebody who doesn't come from a library background. As the gentleman said, you can be a service agent and not have been, or the head of the FBI as we currently see today, or many other positions, not had experience in that field. So I'm well educated, I think I can do the job. I have a different skill set to your colleague here, but managing big budgets, managing people, community engagement is obviously a big one of mine. I've been doing it now for the last 5 years. So I would be open to meet with you to talk about the position if you think that that's the path that you'd like to take. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's somebody who had her hand up.
Oh, it can only be the two people, so. Okay, all right, so bring us into, and it wasn't Kristen, was it? Okay, so bring us into, session, all right? So, I believe that Hendersonville needs an interim director along with, operations directors. There's two jobs going on right there. I know that when Alicia was interim director and did not have an operations director, that it was very difficult for her to be interim until she hired an operations director. If we bring Ann Herod in, then we have an interim and an operations director. Therefore, a position is not being lost. And I believe that Ann Herod would bring a lot of leadership and even be able to possibly help Kristen, who could also apply for the director as well at some point in time. So that's my thoughts on the interim director. And again, this is going based on the conversation and the numerous conversations that I've had with Kristen over the last 2 weeks and her being in her overwhelm. So. Okay. So I will, so for the interim director, I will entertain a motion to nominate Ann Herod as the interim director. Do I have a motion? No motion for Ann Herod? Okay.
And with all due respect to the qualifications of the candidate.
100%.
Yeah, I think.
100%, and I would encourage her to apply when the job becomes open.
Today.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and do I have so then entertain a motion to put Kristen as interim director?
So moved. Second.
Jim, the motion.
Oh, you can have it, it's fine.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Aye. Opposed? All right. So Kristen is the interim director. All right, and then we'll move on to pay for the note-taking. Okay, so right now, we pay for Susie to do note-taking for 6 times a year. If we're upping it to 10 times, then we would need to do $1,000. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Wait, just,
Oh, any
I have a
discussion?
question.
Sorry.
This is only for regularly scheduled, not necessarily special called meetings, unless we have to cancel one, we can substitute that.
Yeah.
It's only 10 meetings,
Yeah,
and then the rest of the time, we are on our own.
yes.
Okay.
Right.
And then a finance question, where does that money come from?
Budget puts it into the Hendersonville Library,
It's-
and then Hendersonville pays.
Okay,
It's a line item.
It's a line
Okay.
item.
Hendersonville.
so it will go in and won't take away from any of the library's budgets. This will be in addition to their bottom line.
It'll have to be added this budget year.
This budget
But
year.
if there's money left in the line,
Okay.
it'll just carry over.
Okay. Just checking.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? All right, and so now.
Motion to adjourn.
Or adjourn. Shannon,
Second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions?